In the wake of the terror attacks in New York and New Jersey and Minnesota as well, the spotlight is once again on our border crisis. A new report from Breitbart lists 10 major terror arrests in the United States in the last 2 years, all involving people with alleged ties to ISIS who got into this country. Here to react, Congressman Henry Cuellar of Texas. He's a Democrat who has been a vocal critic of the Obama administration's border policy. Congressman, good morning to you.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
You know, the President of the United States has made it very clear he would love to see a lot of Syrian refugees in this country. He would like to see lots more refugees across the board into the country. And we detailed a moment ago how the mayors of Paris and London and New York wrote in the New York Times yesterday, we would like some more unfiltered refugees in the country. Is that really a good idea?
Well, just to let people in just because you want to fill an arbitrary number, I think that's wrong. You know, I believe in the immigration laws that we have to make them stronger, but we have to enforce those laws. And if we're going to let people in, we got to make sure that they're properly vetted. That's why some time ago I voted with my friend Michael McCall, Congressman McCall, to make sure we're talking about refugees. We got to make sure that we verify and certify that the people coming in are not going to be a threat to us in any way or form.
Okay, there you're talking about vetting. Suddenly, for a moment, you kind of sounded like Donald Trump, and now Hillary Clinton is talking about vetting as well, which, you know, she's playing catch-up on that. But, Congressman, when you look at the people who were vetted, supposedly, by the administration, allowed in the country, and this certainly is not a comprehensive list that Breitbart has put together, but you've got these 10 people over the last 2 years tied to ISIS. Those are the last people we want in.
You know, all it takes is one time to have somebody cause a lot of damage. And that's why, you know, the law enforcement and the people that go through this vetting have to be correct 100% of the time. And that's what I'm saying. If we're going to let refugees in, we got to make sure that we properly vet them, because all it takes is just one individual. We know what sort of damage they can cause to us.
Absolutely. Congressman, a moment ago we were talking about the bomber here in New York and New Jersey who, you know, yesterday the father said, yeah, I told the FBI 2 years ago my son was a terrorist. And then you look, he went to Afghanistan, he went to Pakistan a number of times, once over a year, and you start to realize, wait a minute, it looks like the feds may have not connected a lot of the dots. Unfortunately, the Fed's rules of engagement are in many cases outdated, and in fact they did great police work in finding the people, but maybe the whole PC thing is handcuffing our men and women who are trying to enforce the laws.
Well, look, you know, this thing about PC, I'll say this very carefully. PC cannot stand in the way of law enforcement doing its job. You know, we have to make sure that we let the men and women do our job. We got to make sure that the Intelligence Committee, our law enforcement, FBI, that they do their job. And unfortunately, PC does get in the way sometimes. And again, I want to be respectful of religion. I want to be respectful of cultures. But at the same time, you know, law enforcement has to do its job.
Absolutely. And, of course, we've got all the Border Patrol people standing on the border between our country and Mexico, for instance, our southern border. You're from down in Texas. But the administration has placed a number of handcuffs on them where they don't really do their job. You know, they're supposed to stop people who are not in this country legally, and yet a lot of people get through.
Well, you know, what we're seeing is Border Patrol, and just a couple of days ago, I was talking to one of my friends at Border Patrol. We spent a lot of time talking very frequently, and one of the things that we're seeing is that they stop them, then after a while, they're, as the administration calls it, they're doing a better job at, quote, management and processing. What does that mean? That means that they can handle this folks coming in, but then they give them this notice to appear, and you know that in 3 or 4 or 5 years, you know, they might show up in court, they might not show up in court, and they might just disappear in our community. So we have to make sure our men and women at the border have the right resources and make sure that they do the job that they're supposed to, and that is stop the bad people from coming into our country.
Absolutely. Call it notice to appear. It really is a notice to disappear, unfortunately. Congressman, thank you very much for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You bet.